The number one question from agencies or CAMs is, what does a day in the life of a CAM look like? And if you've been wondering, we wanted to bring on our very own team member, Jenna, who is a superstar CAM. She went from a marketing manager, went through our training program called CAM School, and graduated with an A+, and she is now working with 3 different marketing agencies, all inside of Dot & Co. So in this episode, we talked to Jenna about how she manages her time, taking breaks, everything in between, and how she is such a killer client account manager.
Welcome to the Happy Clients Podcast, brought to you by Dot & Company. Whether you're a virtual assistant, an agency owner, or a client-facing account manager, we all deal with clients. Lucky for you, client management is what we do best. Now, let's dig in, chat CAM life, and have some fun along the way. Cheers to happy clients.
We wanted to, of course, chat to you, one of our fellow CAMs, and just kind of paint the picture of what a day in the life of a client account manager looks like at Dot.
Yes. Yeah, I'm super excited to be here.
So why don't you introduce yourself, Jenna?
Okay, well, my name is Jenna Meldrum, and I have been a Dot CAM for, I guess, the better part of this year, and I'm absolutely loving it. I have 3 agencies that I currently work with, and they vary in various different parts of, the industry. So they do digital marketing, so social media, Google, Bing, you name it. I also have an agency that does print, which is really cool, and also one that does copy editing. So very vast, very different. Every day is different and every day is exciting.
Oh, cool.
And what's super cool about Jenna is she's one of our only CAMs working with 3 different agencies, which is totally cool and definitely has its, I guess, challenges. And that's what we want to talk about today, Jenna, just how you live your day-to-day with 3 different agencies and time management tools and all those really valuable things for people living this remote agency life. So why don't we start with maybe even a day in the life of Jenna?
Okay, well, like I said, every day is different, but I try to structure my days very similarly so that, it also becomes routine and that kind of takes out the clutter. But every day I usually start with something just for me. So it could be a coffee, take my dog for a walk, do some yoga, like whatever the case may be, whatever I feel like doing. And then I look into reviewing my meetings for the day just to make sure that I'm ready for everything that might come my way. And then I start in with my emails and notifications, and that I start by time zone. So I have a few that are on the East Coast, and then they go all the way to the West Coast. So I do them starting on the East Coast and work my way to the West Coast and doing my notifications and emails, just to make sure that everyone has everything that they need for the day as well. And then I check in on the project management tool for whatever agency that I have, whatever one they're using. And then I work into projects and meetings throughout the afternoon. Now, my most productive time is the morning. So I get most of my project stuff done in the morning as much as I can, and then have meetings in the afternoon. And then, of course, periodic checks throughout the day for email and Slack, and then inbox 0 for the end of the day.
I actually feel like that's kind of a CAM theme, is meetings in the afternoon, but like productivity in the morning, which is cool. And just like making time zones work, I think that afternoon is good to keep open for things like meetings, just so you can touch base with team members.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe it is a thing with just CAMs that mornings are more productive, but I think everyone's different, of course. Like your productive time, make sure you block that time and do those projects then instead of fitting it in whenever you can throughout your meetings. That way you can get the most done.
Yeah.
Or even to be arrogant enough to think that, oh, I can do it later in the day, because we all know the days get busy, right? So when you're tackling all these things, Jenna, what are kind of 5 success tools for time management for you?
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that not putting things off, because I always talk to myself when I have any projects that I'm doing or any tasks that I know are coming up. If I know I can do it in the moment, and I think this is the most important thing that I do for time management, is if I can do it now, don't wait until later, because you don't know what kind of priorities are going to pop up for that and what changes are going to happen. You need to be kind to your future self. Get it done now so that you don't have to worry about it later. So that would be my number one thing. Of course, blocking time when it's easiest for you to do work and most productive for you to do work. Make sure that you're setting expectations with everyone on your team so that they know that during these times you're available, so they're not pinging you like throughout that time so that you can actually get things done. And then probably understanding how long it takes you to do something. So if you're starting out trying to figure out, if you're overwhelmed and you're starting out to try to figure out how can I get all of this stuff done, understand how long it takes you to do something. And then that way you can plan for future. And I think the last thing, I think that brings me to 5, is to stay organized as much as you possibly can. And that kind of goes hand in hand with knowing how long it takes you to do something. And of course, understanding the project itself.
Love that. I think the biggest thing that you said there that I don't know if we've ever talked about is the actual time it takes you to do something. And like you were saying, if you procrastinate things till later and you're like, oh, I'll just do that later. I need like a half an hour to do that. When in reality, it could have taken you 5 minutes and
Right.
you could have just gotten it done. So I love thinking about that, how long something actually takes and just doing it.
Right. And a lot of like the agencies I work with, like they don't know how long it takes them to do something. So like these tasks, they just pile up and they pile up. And then it just, you have this huge long list of things that you have to do. And it seems like you're not going to be able to do it. It's this mountain that you can't climb. And then, you know, if you just start doing things as they come to you, finishing them, then you don't have to worry about it for later. You don't end up with a huge list.
Exactly.
And I think that's essential to even you juggling 3 agencies, right? Like that's no small challenge. Even acknowledging that and carrying it over from agency to agency is really valuable.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's dig into your role as a CAM, working in 3 agencies and also being remote. Can you talk a little bit about the pros and cons of working remote and what you like or where there's challenges?
Oh, I couldn't say enough good things about working remote. Just a few of my favorites to start, and then we'll get into the cons. But flexibility for me is a huge thing. I like to be able to get up and go wherever I want when I need to and not be tied to my desk. You know, eventually, when travel restrictions are not as strict as what they are now, then I'll be able to go somewhere and be able to work just from my laptop and be able to see the world again. But also, even on the other side of that, not having to commute to an office every day. Like it gives you back probably 2 hours a day. Like if you have to drive an hour to get to where you're going, which a lot of us have to. So it gives you back that time to be able to have a better work-life balance. And I think that's what everyone is really striving for, is to have that. So working from home is excellent to be able to do that. So then for cons, I guess you can fall into like no separation between work and life because your work is in your home. So having like a separate space, I find, always helps with that, so that you don't need to worry about, oh, I see my laptop, I'm thinking about work again. Having a separate space, like I have a separate office. As soon as I'm done work, I close the door and then I live my life.
Love that.
That's really smart, really smart.
Yeah.
And Jenna, I wanted to ask too, you are working with 3 different agencies. You are managing your time, staying organized, doing your work-life balance the best that you can. And you actually do it quite well. You take Hero for walks. And I know you sometimes even going to a coffee shop is exciting. She's a coffee lover. Who isn't?
I do love coffee.
But what do you feel like inside of these agencies, where is the most success? Where are agencies saying like, great job, Jenna, this is exactly what I needed? What do you think is the biggest part of the CAM puzzle when you're working inside these agencies
I think it's different.
that they love the most?
Well, yeah, I think it's different with every agency because I bring myself into like every single agency that I work with. Unfortunately, I'm myself 100% of the time. They all get it. I guess for some agencies, like they love the personality that I bring and the positivity and the boost of energy to meetings and to little Slack notifications, adding little emojis, making it fun, because the day can be, daunting throughout the entire day if you've got change in meetings and things happen and you need to stay flexible. But if you can add a little bit of humor or just lighten it a little bit, I think that really brings a lot to the whole team.
Yeah, I love that. And you are good at that. You're just a little ray of sunshine.
Right? Well, I try.
Well, it
Gosh,
comes
you got to
through.
have fun.
Yeah.
And that's like such a pain point when we're talking to agency owners too, where they're like, oh, it feels rushed, the communication, they don't have the right time to dedicate and maybe think about lifting it up or putting that emoji in, which is so easy peasy, but can often just be lost when things are rushing around and being moved from here to there. So it is so great to have that person like yourself, Jenna, that is not only positive, but that fresh air, right? And clients love it. And then of course, agency owners love it.
Yeah, just in like a little email, you just ask someone how their week's going. A lot of times everyone else is just trying to get things done because agencies have more clients than sometimes they can manage, or they're trying to onboard more and it just gets very busy and everyone just wants to get information out. But having a dedicated CAM to help make those personal connections is amazing to be able to do.
Love that.
That kind of goes into another question we had for you, Jenna. What is your absolute favorite part about being a client account manager?
Well, I've already alluded to it, but of course, making like a noticeable difference, like in an agency, like that you can see from when you start. Of course, you don't know what happened prior to you being there, but then you see all the changes just from the moment that you started and how people start to interact with each other, and clients, how they say, oh, like, this is great. You start building these personal connections with these clients and you get to know them. And I love that. I'm a people person. I love to make connections with people. So this is an absolute dream. I guess another thing that I love about being a CAM is the wonderful camaraderie that you have with your fellow CAMs, like the network that we have of powerful people here that just have so much knowledge about client communication and how best to do it. It's just amazing. I really love that because no one's really left behind anywhere. Everyone just jumps up at the opportunity to help another CAM out with any problem that they have, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good. Well, that was the goal since day one. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool to see it come to life.
It's more like a family, right?
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, definitely a family. The CAM fam.
The CAM
fam. Love it. You heard it here
There you
first.
go.
Just thinking about your day-to-day and all your tasks and really how you work so efficiently, Jenna. Is there anything else that you feel like you really need to mention just as part of your day and something that really helps you get through and do your work efficiently?
Oh, well, I guess the only thing I really haven't said is taking breaks. Like we talk about having flexibility with being a CAM and also working from home, but actually taking the time to get yourself outside of your little desk, your work zone, and going for that walk with Hero, my dog, and just having a good time and doing something different. And then you come back with a new perspective. Don't wait until you have a big mountain that you have to climb and say, you know what, there's nothing else I can do. I need to take a break. Don't wait until then. Just put that into your regular day, block your time out for it if you need to, but just make sure you're taking that time because, you know, being a CAM, you want to give that positive energy and that, you know, excitement, and you can't do that when you're burning yourself out. So take that time, relax, do something you love, have a quiet coffee just for yourself, and then come back and finish your day.
Yeah,
you heard it here first.
Yeah.
How to be a CAM.
Super important.
Take a break.
How to stay on top of it all.
Can we talk a little bit about CAM school as well? So you came in, you did CAM school, and you went through our training. And how did that transition go? Did you find coming from a traditional marketing background through CAM school and then working inside agencies?
Well, there was a lot actually that I learned like through CAM school that, you know, definitely applied to working in an agency, but also I applied it to my own life. Like the knowledge that you get there is transferable to like everything, project management to digital marketing, just understanding that, but also managing your time and being organized and how you communicate with people. So I guess starting out with CAM school, I expected it to be very similar to what I was doing from, you know, a digital marketing background. I thought that it would just be what I was doing day to day, which was project management, making sure things get done, doing some copywriting, putting ads up on Facebook, Google, wherever. I thought it was going to be mostly like that, but it changes into, I guess for me, it kind of flipped a little bit. And now it seems like it was more client focused and making sure that the client had what they needed. And that was the focus, and making sure that things got done, not necessarily doing the day-to-day that I was doing prior, which was putting things up on Facebook. I think it was a little bit different than what I originally thought, but this is so much better, a better fit for me than what I was doing previously, because it was more client focused and people focused. And that's what I love most.
5
Oh,
stars
good.
for Cam School.
Well, Jenna, that is definitely helpful. I know one of the questions Taylor and I get all the time is like, what does a day look like for a client account manager? And I feel like you definitely have a busy one, and those are really important sort of steps you have to take every day just to keep everything on track and in line and really flowing in the right direction. So I think that is perfect.
Thank you so much, Jenna, for coming on the podcast. I think this will be very valuable, not only for future CAMs, but also for agencies really understanding the ins and outs of a day of a CAM. So thank you for joining us, Jenna.
Well, thank you for having me. I always love hanging out with you guys.
Thank you so much, Jenna, for taking the time today to chat with us. From CAM School to working with 3 different agencies, Jenna has been a superstar CAM. And there's so many opportunities here at Dot & Company. So if you want more information on CAM School and starting your client account manager journey, we will link everything in the description below.
Cheers to happy clients.